Hello and welcome to Spooning with me, Mark Wogan. We are here at Homeslice in the City of London, which I have a vague connection to, but we won't dwell on that. And as ever, I am joined by a very special guest who will be trying the food that they think they love and the food that they think they hate. And of course, I will be blindfolding them. But who is my very special guest? Well, started out as an Essex boy. They became one of Fagin's little scroats. They then became a serf, an archaeologist, almost a politician, a knight of the realm, no less, and an author. Will you please welcome, finally some class in the building, Sir Tony Robbins.
Yes, yeah.
Keep it down, please. He doesn't like the attention.
Can I tell the viewers that It was freezing cold in here when we got in this morning, but you put the pizza oven on.
Oh no, it's there.
And it's just like magic, isn't it? Gradually.
There is nothing like
the
the living flame. No. And many people over the years have said, why don't you just go to gas? It's so much easier. Yes, it is, but it's not the same. There is something about cooking with wood that is so special.
Yeah.
And it just, and it's just a bit of theatre, and then you've got these handsome young Italian men doing what they do, and it's just, I love it. I love what I do.
Can we cue in Bangles, The Eternal Flame?
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't think, we have, Johnny, we haven't got the budget for that, have we?
All right.
Okay, so please don't hum.
Nice and matching.
Please don't hum it. So let's go all the way back.
Yeah.
So you grew up almost next door to my wife, albeit a couple of years apart. 1946, Homerton.
Yep.
And then South Woodford.
Yeah.
My wife is from Woodford Green.
Hey.
Yes. And you wouldn't know it if you met her, unless, of course, you push certain button, and then the Essex comes out. Does that still come out in you, the Essex? Can the Essex come out in Tony Robinson?
Not really. I mean, I can do it, but my mum, who was very Dawston working class, sent me to elocution lessons in Chingford. And that's really where my love of words came from. It was a wonderful old teacher who taught me those lovely late 19th and early 20th century poets like John Masefield and Walter de la Mare. Those lovely tumbling, rumbling vowels and syllables. And I just love them. I didn't know what they all meant.
It's interesting that. So pretty much everybody I talk to who sort of seems to enjoy their life, seems to enjoy their work, had that one person who was formative in terms of triggering that passion in it. Was it this elocutionist?
Yeah, Miss Phillips. Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah. Undying gratitude.
Friends of mine who were, from Liverpool and all that kind of stuff, and that one teacher went, you should do this, and they end up at Cambridge, and then they end up at Footlights, and they end up in this industry, and it all changed. I mean, for me, it was a woman called Fee, who, when I was at cookery school, I was a bit wayward, and my attendance was terrible. And everybody wanted to throw me out, except Fee, who luckily was the principal, and she stuck by me. And food changed my life, So words changed your life.
Absolutely, yeah, yes, and still do. It's funny, talking like that, it makes me think about my diaphragm. Isn't that ludicrous? As soon as
you changed position, you even sat up.
No, yeah. Keep
I'll begin.
Nice upright spine. Don't tip your neck back because you want your neck open. Use your the muscles around your ribs as a kind of bellows.
But what brought you, as a child, to the theatre?
I think it was my mum and dad. Both working class people in the war. Dad was in the RAF, mum was in the WAF, and they just loved the war. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, isn't it? But they were just liberated by it. My mum seems to have spent the entire war defending us from Hitler by doing amateur dramatics with the officers.
Well, that will keep them at bay.
And my dad played boogie piano with the Canadian Forces Dance Band. So
there is performers in there.
Yeah. But when they came back to South Woodford, because my mum and dad had bought a semi-detached in South Woodford before the war started, and that was their goal, that was their aim in life, to break out of...
We need to say the road because...
Leabridge Road.
I know Leabridge Road.
Go down the Leabridge Road.
I know they've changed the whole one-way system around.
I do. I can never find my way around there now. They wanted to go back to this semi-detached dream which they'd fought for before the war.
But that part of what essentially is northeast London was so aspirational at the time, post-war, wasn't it?
Massively, yeah, incredibly. And so I always felt that half of me was facing out towards Essex, the Essex boy thing, and the other half was facing back into the East End where all the older relatives lived.
Yeah, because that was the thing. It was like back then, like my wife's father grew up in Loughton, which wasn't aspirational then, but now is. I mean, it's strange how London changes and develops and whatever, but it's always at its like every major city, it's always at its most vibrant and energetic at its edges.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially where creative people who make no money can afford to live.
And also you get different classes of people and different ethnicities of people come to London and are very, very poor, so go to very poor areas. And then as they earn money, either that area changes because suddenly there's money coming in, or they move to another area and change that.
Yeah.
So constantly the way we look at, I don't know, Ilford, Walthamstow, Epping, it changes over the years.
But your first sort of big gig, correct me if I'm wrong, was as one of the original cast members of Oliver, the musical.
Yeah.
What was that like as a kid? Because my wife did the same thing. She was original cast member of Bugsy Malone.
It was, well, you don't think of it in terms of glamour when you're a kid. Like there were 26 curtain calls on the first night of Oliver. I didn't know that was a big deal.
That is a massive deal, isn't it?
Even the stage carpenter came on stage and took a bow. I mean, it was a beautiful set, I have to admit. But I mean, that's how ridiculous it was.
It's one of those productions that I wish I'd seen. You know, it was like the first incarnation of Les Miserables, which was extraordinary in the way that set worked and all that kind of thing. Same with Oliver, with that music, because that music was so part of my childhood.
And it's not just the music, it's the lyrics too. I mean, I think that Lionel Bart is the Cole Porter of British musical. Which you'll know, but in this life, one thing counts. In the bank, large amounts. Great gag. 12 syllables, I think, even less than a haiku. And then it goes, I'm afraid these don't grow on trees. And then the perfect, you got to pick a pocket or two. But there is another one, which I was thinking about on the way here, which I was one of the voices in it. It's a song for the boys at the very beginning.
Because you would have been original cast recording.
Yeah, I absolutely was. At the Maida Vale Studios. In fact, when Oliver comes up and asks for more, the boy who was playing Oliver Twist had soft shoes on and I'd got hard shoes on. And so the feet coming up for Oliver asking for more are mine.
There we go.
But anyway.
I'm going to go and listen to that.
This song.
Yes.
Food, glorious food, hot sausage and mustard, while we're in the mood, cold jelly and custard, peas, pudding and saveloys, and then my line, what next is the question. What a rubbish line.
Well,
You've got all these other evocative things going on.
I tell you what is next.
What?
Your pizza.
Ooh.
Look here, Antonio has made this for you.
I can smell it.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
So we have followed your brief, sir.
It is the size of Wales. Yeah.
Well, that's what we do here at Homeslice Pizza. We do big. Because, you know, men of our advancing years, Tony, will know that size matters.
And colour appears to matter too.
Exactly.
It needs to be orange.
Now, you were very specific about, because everyone who comes on now, because we now do Spooning with Mark Wogan at Homeslice, which is my restaurant, we ask them what their favourite pizza is, and we try and our best to recreate it. And yours was a Margherita with burrata and lots of basil.
A basilica, I think is
that
what they call it.
is that to your liking, sir?
It is. To be honest, I think when you use pizza, what do you got? Pizza bread, I suppose.
Dough.
Dough, and just dump the entire context. You know what?
Less is more.
Less is more.
It's a bizarre thing. It's like people go, oh, you know, I don't get as much on my pizzas in here as I would in Domino's. Oh, really? Well, we'll go there then.
Yeah.
Because that's not pizza. You've heard it here first. It's savoury cake. Here we go. So let's see.
Oh, you fold it.
Yeah, you've got to fold it that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, that way is far less mess. They call it the New York fold.
Oh, that's lovely.
You see, now you can taste. You can taste the wood there.
You can. We'll taste it. And we've both got that little ring of tomato round our faces from the very first bite.
Endlessly recycled napkins. So,
Oh,
you're in. Is that good? What you need to say, my God, Mark, that's probably the best pizza I've ever had.
it's probably the best pizza I've ever had.
Good.
Golly, I'm coming back to Homeslice.
There we go. Excellent. Let's put that up on social media, please. he is a knight of the realm, after all. They'll buy in for that. Good. So, you're in Oliver.
Yep.
You're treading the boards.
Yep.
You're singing. You're dancing. But who put you there? That's what I mean. You know, did you go to one of those? Because my wife, for Bugsy Me Alone, went to an open audition and queued up for hours and got it.
I didn't go to what they call a stage school, a sort of factory for producing young kids. I stayed at grammar school. So it was really weird, really weird upbringing. Half the time I was in the A-level set of a co-ed grammar school, Wanstead County High School. And the other half of the time, after Oliver, I was never a child star, but we became kind of marketable commodities, those 13 or 14 of us who were in the original cast, because it had been such a hit. So I was doing little bits in plays, little bits in movies, bits of telly.
Is that stuff we can look up? I'd like, see on YouTube, the boyish, impish version of you.
There are little bits.
You didn't go into the movie, though.
No, I was too old by that time. By the time the movie was being made, I was at drama school. I was like, I'm a bit, I suspect, like you. I was kind of lazy, a bit dysfunctional,
all right,
gabby.
We don't talk about that openly on this, though.
I'm going to go on smart, ambitious, self-centered, you know, all those things. And I've upset him now.
No, you're
Me.
fine. No, you were describing me, unfortunately, as well.
So I had these early teens where I was allowed to stay in the A stream because schools were streamed in those days, even though I did very badly in my exams, because they thought that the only reason that I'd done badly was because I was acting away half the time. It wasn't. It was because I hated school.
I hated school.
I couldn't engage with it at all.
But I don't get, I mean, the whole thing with means testing. I mean, it's for a bygone era. Why are we doing that to children? I mean, like, GCSEs are the most horrific thing. I mean, I've got a 19-year-old, so he went through it a couple of years ago. It's the most awful thing.
I don't have a solution at all, but I do think in 100 years' time, we'll look back on the way we educate kids now and think, that is barbaric.
Yeah.
The institutionalized nature of what they do, the way we teach what they teach. And as I say, I'm not like being Pink Floyd, all in, all it's out there, now they're brick in the wall, the teachers are tyrants kind of thing. I don't feel that. I just feel, as a species, we don't know how to inculcate our kids with the things that are important.
But it's the only difference between the kind of education that you and I received and our children receive in a completely different world is there's no cane or punishments like that anymore.
No, I mean, what a pity.
I mean,
the old values.
Never did me any harm. You know, but...
Oh, listen, what I was going to say was that, so all I got was four O-levels.
You've got 4 more than me. Well done, you.
We've both managed to get by, haven't we? I got 4 O-levels, and then they wanted to put me in what they called the Oxbridge set to try and get into Oxford or Cambridge, which was mad because the number of exams I would have to do within those next 2 years, I could never possibly have done.
But they must have seen sort of some kind of intelligence potential in you.
I guess they do. I guess they did. But I said, I want to go to drama school because I knew I wouldn't have to do any exams to get into drama school. I thought I could act, so it wouldn't be hard.
Turns out you can.
Well, no, I couldn't really. I'll tell you about that anyway. And so I got into the Central School of Speech and Drama, and it was just a strategy to get out of the pressure of having to stay at school, really. And it was only when I got to drama school when the boss of the drama school said, everyone is going to have a really difficult time. You, Tony Robinson, are going to have the worst, most challenging time because you think you know how to act. You've picked up all these terrible habits as a child actor, these love me attitudes towards everything. You don't really digest the text, you just show off. And so I went through 3 really quite tough years. Thank God I did. It was my saviour. But it was fortuitous because that's not why I went there at all. I went there because it would be an easy ride.
Well, I mean, it does sort of play to the title of your autobiography. No cunning plan. You know, which, I mean, it's a lovely book, and it sort of, you know, you do get a sense of you from it, but also that thing of, you know, because if we fast forward a bit, you then end up in this sort of bizarre historical sitcom, which if you look back at it now, the first season is close to dreadful when you look at it.
This is Blackadder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your character was completely different. Your character wasn't a half-wit, which he developed into. Do you think it's because you're better at playing stupid people than you are clever people?
No, but I think there's something about my height which makes it likely that I'll be asked to play funny people. I was in the lunch queue once with Victoria Wood, and she said to me, you and I, we're never going to be Romeo and Juliet because I'm too fat and you're too short. She said, we both have exactly the same feelings as all the actors who will play Romeo and Juliet. We fall as deeply in love, we feel as betrayed, but people won't perceive of us as being the sort of people who portray that.
Now, you've been very outspoken in the past about heightism. Because you are
5'4".
5'4". You know, the interesting thing is, you seem, and this is me blowing smoke, that you seem taller in terms of how you carry yourself, who you are, and that sort of thing. But you've been very vocal. What was the catalyst for that, for you to going, you know, hold on a second?
I did feel put down both by girls and boys at school for my height or my lack of height. That hurt. I grew enormously irritated by this notion that a lot of women have, most women I think, that there is something inherently sexier about tall men than shorter men. And look at Love Island, every single interview, they're not allowed to say, I don't want a Jewish man, or I don't want a blind man, or I don't want a ginger man. I want a tall boy. First of all, first thing
tall,
that
dark,
happened,
and handsome.
Yeah. Hysterics. And it isn't the worst kind of bigotry in the world, you know. It stood me in good stead in many ways. It's made me much punchier than I think I would otherwise have been. It's just that in this era when we've identified not being cruel to people for their physical characteristics, everyone seems blind to this one, which is patently obvious to me. And now, you know, I've had wonderful relationships with wonderful women. I have 2 children. In the autumn of my life, I don't have quite such a sex drive as I used to, but I do still find it a bit irritating, this heightist business.
But you're sort of on a hiding to nothing, because if you're in any way demonstrative about the fact, or you sort of try and stand out, you're immediately labelled as having, oh, he's got Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah, that's right. But that's true. I can't remember which one, but one of the American black writers wrote in which she said, do you know what? I just can't be asked to argue about my blackness some days. It's just it's such hard work. People just take the piss out of your attitude all the time. And I know that I'm right about what I'm saying, but oh God,
no, but why should it make any difference?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this before, I was raised to take everybody on face value, race, colour, creed, height, whatever. Are you a nice person? That's it. That's all that counts. And, but it's interesting you say that the things that are left that seem okay, like, all right, shorty, sorry, what makes you, no, all right, you great lanky streak of piss, whatever it is, But my mother hated the fact that people thought it was okay to do impressions of Irish people.
Yeah.
She literally, begorra, oh, top of the morning, in a or potato, And as she said it, she goes, if I was Nigerian, you wouldn't come up and do a Nigerian accent at me.
There's a league, isn't there?
Yeah.
You would never dream of doing the Indian voice that Peter Sellers used to do. You wouldn't do a Caribbean voice. Although white kids can do Caribbean voices, and that is considered to be cool.
Particularly privately educated ones. You're like, your mashed breadfruit, yeah. You're like, what are you stupid little git?
But like you say, even today, it is apparently acceptable to go, top of the morning.
I know. I mean, it is like, one, Irish people never say top of the morning.
Well, they should. It's a very good expression.
I can't remember the last time I saw a actual Irish person go, begorra, or potato. No, none of those things. They don't say it,
I guess it's essentially about we don't take the mickey out of people who we think are struggling.
But that said, if you were tall, would you have got the role of Baldrick?
No way, not a chance.
And have you, over the years, had a love-hate relationship with Baldrick?
No,
or has it all been love?
All been love. Because if I'd been younger when I got Baldrick, I think I would possibly have taken it more for granted. Oh, I'm so talented. Yes, I did get this role, but I would have succeeded in the
BAFTA for it, actually.
Yeah.
Supporting BAFTA. Yes, thank you.
But like, I was 38. All the really difficult things in life that happened to me. I'd lost parents. I'd lost great friends. I'd lost my children in John Lewis, all those things. That's really, it's so scary.
Unfortunately, found them again.
But isn't it, losing your child in a large store is the most terrifying
It's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Where's they gone?
All those kinds of things had happened to me, and so actually getting that part was, well, the success that went with getting that part was a glorious present. It was wonderful, and I've always enjoyed it. But I don't think it turned my head.
Well, I think isn't it? It's the classic, I'm a 25-year overnight success. Because you had been at it for 25 years before you became essentially household known. I think the fact that, the first season of Blackadder wasn't what it became. The second season was so good, and then it continued to be brilliant after that. The sad thing is, nowadays, a sitcom like that wouldn't get a second chance after the first one.
Yeah, that's the real problem, isn't it? I suppose there is a difference in a way, in that people can make comedy in their own streets and on their own sofas and put them online.
Oh, well, they think they can make comedy.
And there's some really successful stuff coming out that way. So there is that very different sort of self-training. But what there isn't is investing a lot of money into something. And when it doesn't work out the first time, not saying, aha, that was really worth doing because now we know what's wrong with it, but we can also see the threads of what's right with it. We'll continue to invest in it and make the right bits work. That doesn't happen.
But what's interesting, so if you take a modern day example, you've got the movie Wicked, right? I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, well, not the new one, but I've seen the first
Right,
one, yeah.
right. So the movie Wicked, right? They made both of those at the same time.
Didn't they?
What if the first one was rubbish?
Mm.
It didn't do well.
First.
Yeah, they filmed them, they put them both in the can before they dropped the first one. And you sort of think, well, how do they know?
Yeah.
Or is it that thing of they know how to feed things to people? Because that brings me, you saying there are people out there within the Twitterverse or, social media who are doing great things. But there are also people out there doing, quite frankly, inane, dumb dross who are very successful because they know how to massage the algorithm.
I think that's true, but I still think it's the case that you can only get away with the dumb dross for a certain amount of time. Yeah. By and large, I think the stayers, regardless of what parts
mainly
of the
a season of Love Island.
They stay.
Yeah, maybe a season of Love Island, wandering around at 6'2" with your dark hair, and then nobody cares anymore. Yeah. I mean, then
I think we've got to line 2 of your notes.
No, exactly.
Years have gone by, trees have grown.
But were you always writing during that period? Because you sort of, Maid Marian and Her Merry Men was you in its entirety, and it was almost Dennis Waterman-esque. Wrote theme tune. Were you always writing during that period?
I was always
and when the opportunity to be heard was like, well, actually, I've got this.
I was always writing, but I never considered myself a writer in inverted commas. Writing was always a means to an end as far as I was concerned. Having played Baldrick for so long, I wanted to play an absolute swine, and I've created the Sheriff of Nottingham as this kind of sub Alan Rickman, a cross between Alan Rickman and John Cleese, I think. And it meant that all that I'd learnt on Blackadder, it was a palette. Maid Marian was a palette on which I could kind of recreate that, and it also expressed my love for my kids.
But also kind of what I like, if you look back at it now, which you sort of slipped under the radar, and I don't know if it was a conscious thing, very pro-women.
Yeah.
You can't leave that alone, can you?
Can't stop eating.
Well, don't worry, there's more food to come.
I've never wanted my work to be polemic. I just think that's tedious. But the kids' mum was a very strong woman. My daughter, who's now a successful historical writer in her mid-40s, she was always very strong. I understood absolutely the logic of all the stuff that was being written by Germaine Greer and the American stuff. It all seemed very sensible to me. And also I think maybe one of the advantages of being small, like I was a small guy, I was the shortest in my year, I was short-sighted, I was rubbish at games. I was never going to be one of those competitive blokes. I enjoyed the company of women, by and large, more than I enjoyed the company of blokes. They seem to talk about more interesting things, quite honestly.
Well, I don't like all bloke company. I like a mix. All bloke company I find pretty turgid.
I'd rather be an all women company than all bloke company. So. Okay. But anyway, well, my point was, yes, of course, I do believe the stuff that women have been saying for the past 20 years or so. In this latest wave of feminism, I believe it absolutely. But it wasn't that I wanted to kind of promulgate it in some flag-waving way. It was just part of what I believed in.
But you have never shied away from talking about what you believe in. But the interesting thing is, it's never got you cancelled.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I think what you've always been able to do is read the room and pitch what you're saying correctly. Because it's like, we live in cancel country. It's like, there's a really good way of not getting cancelled. don't say dumb stuff. Make sure what you're saying is intelligent and thought through, which you seem to do.
I'd like to think that's true. I think it's become harder and harder. I think you're really tiptoeing through the frigging tulips now.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion about.
But I think it's sort of slightly going the other way. I think
without
people
doubt.
have had enough of being unable to, because it's oppression at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. And the problem with not being able to speak is that as soon as people aren't able to speak, it means that group of people aren't part of change anymore. You're having to do things by diktat.
But you took quite a serious role in trying to affect change, and you sat on the executive committee of the Labour Party.
I did, yeah.
For 4 years. Would you sit on it now?
Yeah.
But how do you feel about? Look, any government in power at the moment has an impossible task.
Yeah.
But do your staunch beliefs still lie at the heart of a Labour ethos? Do you feel that the current government is following that?
I hate the word politics,
Yeah.
just as I hate the word history and I hate the word archaeology.
It's weird that given your
Yeah. But you see,
we're going to get to you causing everybody to dig up their gardens in a minute.
I hate the notion that everything that you do has to be siloed into a thing. As soon as that happens, people stop talking about it. Like, it's the kiss of death. Tony Robinson, you're interested in politics. Half the people have walked out of the room. The other half think that I'm way to the left or way to the right or a
Crazy lefty lunatic.
So, yeah, exactly. So I cannot start a conversation. What I can say to you is that I have always believed that one person on their own really can't change very much at all. All they can do is moan. But all of us together in this room, there's 7 or 8 of us in this room now. If we all came to the same conclusion about something, we could change it. And that has always been the mechanism that really excites and really attracts.
But I think because of the speed of information now, trying to get 8 people to agree has become harder and harder and harder. And I think that is part of the problem is, I don't know, there's just that thing of, I would like for want of a better word, a politician to just stand up and go, this manifesto, I cannot guarantee we'll stick to it. We're going to try our hardest, but we've got a £35 billion hole in the economy and it's not going to be easy. But instead, we're kind of, I don't know, the politicking starts and it drives me mad.
I agree with you, but I also think that it's merely a symptom of what you said earlier. None of us know how to do politics anymore. Whoever would have thought that a president of the United States would arrive and sue the BBC for £1 billion? Now, if you are the Prime Minister, how on earth do you legislate about that? He's the most powerful man in the world. If you piss him off, he will punish not only you, but your country and probably your children too. And yet you need to protect something which you think is of value. I still think the BBC is incredibly valuable. It's a public utility. All right, the news, they've really buggered it up. They've really made a huge mistake and people ought to have their bottom slapped. But sport's still great, drama's still great, celebrity doodah was wonderful, all those things. Yeah, they're glorious. How do you protect them? Sorry, to finish my argument. I don't think we can say, oh, the politicians aren't doing it well enough. We are all in a new world which none of us understand. We're all in the middle of a hurricane. The best we can do is say the hurricane will die down, and what we must do is to maintain as much integrity and love for everybody as we can while it does. Sorry.
Kindness is everything. But if we'd been doing this podcast 10 years ago and I'd said to you, I reckon Donald Trump will be doing his 2nd term as President of the United States, and the answer to everyone's problems in the UK would be Nigel Farage, you would have looked at me like my hair was on fire. But that's sort of where we find ourselves. As someone who's been not just a voter, You know, you have been more of a voter. What do you, where do you see democracy even going now?
I think you made two good and interesting points there. First of all, this thing about Farage arriving out of nowhere. Yes, that's true, but it has always happened. If you look at Greek history, if you look at Roman history, medieval history, look at Germany in the 1930s. Hitler was just a joke, an absolute joke until 36, 37, in the same way that Farage was.
Are you comparing Nigel Farage to Adolf Hitler?
I will make no other comment than say the trajectory of them has been remarkably similar.
I shouldn't laugh.
These things happen. You know, that's why I'm interested in history, because these patterns, these shapes, these waves come and go, come and go.
I mean,
come and go.
I love history, and it's that I particularly sort of social history I love, and the sort of untold stories. It's like people who go on about reincarnation. It's like, oh well, you know, in a previous life I was an Egyptian prince. Like, nobody was ever the bloke who collected turd outside the castle, were they?
Yeah.
Or the Baldrick. Nobody was ever the Baldrick in history. But that kind of social history, which in your time on Time Team, you sort of brought to life, because it was on Time Team, it was the kind of, it was almost the mundane stuff that got pulled out of the ground that was the most interesting.
That's what you find. You're not going to find many pyramids and golden thrones. What you find is exactly what you've said, the mark of ordinary people on the landscape. So if you find a bit of a column, it's likely that there's going to be like one elaborately carved face, the other faces are flat where it goes into the rest of the column, and on one of those flat faces you will find a little scribble which the mason has done, probably to tell his apprentice,
Derek
look,
was here.
Knock that out for me while I go down the calf and I'll come back and tart it up. You find loads of bits of wood from, let's say, a medieval house, and where the joint should happen between two bits, you'll find an autograph, just to remind the carpenter, oh, it's these two bits that lock together, not two other bits. Roman tiles, there's always a dog's paw print in about 1 in 10 where they've been laid out to dry. My dad in South Woodford, laying the concrete path, make his garden look posh.
Next door's cat.
Yeah, absolutely. The language he used, and every time I see one of those Roman tiles, I think the
someone's swearing in Latin. Now, your book,
my book,
which has a slightly historical bent to it, should we say, but what I like to do when I have an author on is, you know, because many of us live in an age of, what should we say, AI or ChatGPT or things like that. So we need to check, you know, did you write the book? And this being a food podcast, we do it through the medium of food. So I have something here. Now, let's move that out of the way.
Okay.
Here we go. There we go. Thanks, you Panos. So, there.
Yep.
They are sliced sausages.
They are.
It's early on in the book, this. You've got to tell me.
I've got to tell you what's in it.
Yeah, no, you've got to tell me where this comes in the book. The sliced sausages.
Sliced sausages?
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. Give me a clue.
Page 19.
Yeah.
He ignored the kitchen slaves gutting fish and slicing sausages for the feast. See, it's going to be that spurious, all right? So get ready.
I wanted to... You know how description in books tends to be about the colours and I don't know, the pictures that are created. I do think that food is terribly useful for tastes, smells and activity.
Well, it's something everybody can relate to.
Yeah. And did you make this, or is this just from around the corner?
No, they've cooked those. from my butcher.
Don't you like a cold sausage?
I love a cold sausage. There's a lot of food in this.
Yeah.
Or certainly what one would describe as a cornucopia of feasts. They loved a feast, didn't they?
Yeah.
In those times.
Well, it was like they didn't have nearly as much going on in their world, did they? And,
No.
I think most of us eat an awful lot of our food on the run, or without much thought, or
I can't stand it.
television, the tray in front of you, watching Game of Thrones, shoveling it down, really just
Not chewing.
no. But what I wanted to create was a world in which actually there weren't that much food about, and there weren't all that many different tastes around unless you worked hard on it. So every mouthful was of significance.
But what's interesting is, before we sat down, you were sort of saying that food, you're not what you would describe as a foodie or anything like that, but you've got a great food imagination. When you look at the book, it's kind of like, oh, you can see and feel those feasts. A feast had been laid. Ham, apples, preserves, fruit, bowls of curd and soft cheese, boiled pike sprinkled with dried herbs, pickled herring and piles of loaves. And you're kind of like, you can see that. Albeit in my head, I sort of see it as a kind of still life painting.
Yes, I think that's really what the idea of that was, that the Vikings are just landing and the Anglo-Saxons want to bribe them into going away.
Yeah.
So what they do, you're absolutely right, they create this kind of still life bit of wonderfulness for the Vikings to eat. What the Vikings don't realise is that whole feast has been laced with a hallucinogen. And so within 5 minutes,
now you see that
Vikings are off.
That plays slightly. There was a couple of things I was reading where it was like, you go, yeah, I was doing that, but I was quite stoned and don't remember. I mean, have you sort of left? I mean, I definitely have. I mean, I'm sort of 33 years clean and sober now, but you were curious, would you say, about the mind-altering substance in your time?
I was of my generation. I was that golden generation. I was 16 when Love Me Do and Please Please Me came out.
God,
so
I mean, other than the lack of deodorant, it must have been an incredible time.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and yeah, I was stoned every day for 20 years probably.
What was the light bulb moment where you go, actually, do you know what? I'm not going to get up and do that today.
When my daughter was 8.
Right.
And she actually found I'd got a great old bike jacket, which I gave to her, and she was rooting through the pockets, and she found some grass, which was about 3 years old. I mean, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't be there otherwise. And I suddenly thought, I don't want to be that stoner parent.
Yes.
I just don't, and I just stopped straight away.
I mean, the nice thing for anyone who lives with me is my wife has never known me drink or take drugs, and my son definitely not. But I certainly did at various points. But it's quite interesting. I like the kind of, because for me it got quite serious. For you, it's a sort of light touch of like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
But the book.
Sorry. I'm right. The book is imbued with my experiences. A lot of my experiences in my 20s and 30s was with drugs.
Yeah. But what you've got at the top here also, and I met him recently, and he's annoyingly handsome and cool for a historian, but Dan Jones, who I mean, waxes lyrical, a page-turner full of historical intelligence, wit and heart. Now, he knows his onions when it comes to history. Yeah. And you have displayed categorically in this that you do as well. And it's not just a kind of, I'm writing about this period so that I will study that period. It flows too much. It's like, I understand, I know that period inside out.
That's how I feel, yeah. Even if what I'm describing is actually in the imagination, because there's an awful lot of the Anglo-Saxon we can't know anything about. It's not like the Romans where you've got all the stuff still there, or William the Conqueror and the Normans where you've got the stuff still there. All the Anglo-Saxon stuff was made out of wattle and daub and mud and pottery, and it's just disappeared.
Yeah.
And most of the documentation was nicked by the Vikings. There's just a few things, but it does allow you to let your imagination run wild.
But it is that thing. Well, I think what you do very skillfully, and because prior to this, you were what would have been, which is a crowded market now, the children's author. It's like, you're famous. Can you write a children's book? And quite frankly, is there any point as long as David Walliams is still doing it, because he's just going to outsell everybody? But this is a serious novel, but it's also funny, informative. It's got the characters have depth. This is. How long did it take you to write this?
About 3 years, I think, and pretty much full out. I did devote myself.
But you write everything longhand, don't you?
I write by hand, yeah, with a pen.
Now, I had Jeffrey Archer on. He was a previous Spooner, and he is a longhand author as well. In pencil, right? And he does each book 14 drafts. I mean, they're good, but
no, I can believe that. It's like sculpture, isn't it? The first draft, you just knock out the rough shape, what you can see in the stone, and the further and further drafts, it comes more and more into focus.
But this is definitely a series.
This is a series. It's a
no. But I mean, you've sold it to Netflix, or
no, not at all. No.
Yet?
I had really.
Because it's so visual as a piece of work as well.
I don't want to get into that world of telly and movies, which I've known all my life, and I know what happens with a book. As soon as it goes into telly and movies, the bastards come out of the woodwork.
Tony, don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Have you seen how much they pay for stuff?
That's right, and that's the devil's pact, isn't it? They do, but and I know that the problem is I'm just starting the second book now. I'm 5, 6, 7 chapters into it. If suddenly somebody comes in with a wad of cash, immediately, am I going to be concentrating on those 5 characters?
You were thinking,
or will I follow
Christmas in Mexico?
Yeah, exactly. So just keep it cool. Keep it cool. Don't worry.
Do you have a writing schedule that you like to do? Are you rigorous like that? Are you organised and disciplined?
I was saying to one of the guys in this room that on the way here, I suddenly realised I hadn't got my glasses, and I was in the cab. So I thought, it doesn't matter, I haven't got my glasses, because I'll just think through that chapter that I was worried about. And I spent the whole of the cab ride, which was about an hour, so it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Please
leave the receipt with Panos, he'd be fun.
I spent the whole of that hour just working out what I wanted in that chapter, and it's been great. It was a genuine hour's work, and when I leave here, I'll go home and I'll...
But you're obviously now full-time thinking like a writer rather than an actor and a performer.
Yeah.
But so you're not interested in TV at all? If like, say for example, Ben Elton came and he said, look, Tony, I've written something. I think it's better than Baldrick. Are you in? Are you going to say no?
Of course not. It's always been my craft. It's what I do, and actually just practicing my craft is a great pleasure to me. So if Ben did say that, and I would say, okay, bugger, that means I'm not going to be able to write for 6 weeks. No, that's not quite true, because I can still work in the evenings. So maybe let's call it, I'm going to lose 3 weeks. Let's see if I can find
Well, no, hold on a second. That isn't acting... was it Tom Courtenay said, if you want to know what it's like to be a movie actor, get a caravan, put it in the middle of a field and sit in it for 12 hours a day.
That's true. Yes, that is true. But I've never been in Tom's situation as far as movies is concerned.
Now, we have got to that time in proceedings where I am going to hand you what can only be described as a fetching leopard print blindfold, courtesy of our friends at
It looks like a tiny leopard skin bra.
It does. But it's very good for your eyelashes. It won't crush your eyelashes. Because it is time for your first spoon, Tony.
Okay.
And we're going to start with this one here. I'm going to slide that over. Right.
I'm feeling around the table.
No. I am. Put your hands away. Don't you? Sit on your hands, please, because I feed you. All right. This is a complete trust exercise.
I've still got a slight taste of sausage in my mouth.
I beg your pardon. Here we go. So I'm going to put this whole thing in your mouth. Open wide. Here we go.
Oh.
There we go. Tell me what you've got there.
I've got a great big one. Shall I start seeing it?
Yeah, start chewing it. You want all the flavours, the textures.
Okay. It's like it's fried. As I bite in,
What's the flavours? What do you think it is?
it's like a roast potato.
Like a roast potato, yes. If I said to you the name Phoebe.
Is it a Greek roast potato?
Yes, it is. Take your blindfold off.
Lovely.
So there was just one of everybody fills a questionnaire in before coming on, and you said, "What is your?" It was the most unique answer to best eating experience you've ever had, and why? Because most people talk about, "I was at this restaurant, we were overlooking today," and you go, "Yeah, it's my mate Phoebe's Greek lemon potatoes and my friend Catherine's beef Wellington." So I thought, let's cook the potatoes.
So,
Are they as good as Phoebe's? That's what I need to know.
nearly.
Nearly. Oh, well, I suppose you've got to eat Phoebe's again, so you couldn't possibly say that mine
I
was
tell you,
superior.
If there'd been a hint more lemon, I would have said they were Phoebe's lemon potatoes.
Really?
I didn't quite. Now you tell me there's lemon. It's daft, isn't it? Now you tell me there's lemon in it, I can taste it. That's like
Try one unblindfolded.
Okay.
Eat it now and tell me, is it Phoebe competitive? Now that you know there's lemon.
Well, praise.
Yeah,
This
of course
is
I do.
fantastic.
We all want praise at the end of the day, Tony.
The lemon hasn't quite gone through to the middle. It is a lovely taste.
Oh.
I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking you.
There was
Look,
a kilo and a half of potato.
If Proust had been given another biscuit,
Yeah, true.
he would have said, "Oh, that's not as good as the one that I wrote about in my first book."
All right. Well, listen. So
Well, that's lovely.
I'm going to have to. You're going to have to give me Phoebe's recipe because it's obviously better than mine. But I do. Yeah, I love those potatoes.
They are really good.
Do you know what? Greek potatoes, but they really remind me of, because the Spaniards do a similar thing, and they really remind me of Spanish holidays. That flavour of a kind of soft, fluffy, slightly caramelised on the edge because of the sugars in the lemon, lots of garlic, just...
And they don't have to be too hot.
No.
We don't understand in England, everything needs to be piping hot.
Does the hostess trolley exist in any other country other than the UK?
I think not.
Thank God they died out, because I mean, there was that thing where people would cook the vegetables 3 days before Sunday lunch, stick them in the hostess trolley, and then you'd have like brown green beans for Sunday lunch.
On the telly yesterday, I was just walking past the telly and James Martin was on, and he was saying, actually, when you've
He's
cooked...
been on Spooning.
Is he? Oh. Yeah. He said, when you cook your meat for the Sunday, you can leave it out for an hour. It doesn't have to be hot. And that just seems, you can't say that.
Yeah, you can.
But of course he's right.
The longer you rest it, the better it is. It's fantastic, as is the book. And you were saying
House of Wolf?
The House of Wolf, yes, by Tony Robinson. I noticed it's not got the Sir. Do you not use the Sir?
I don't know, it's not deliberately, honestly. Like often publicity people will say, how do you want to be addressed? I really don't give
All
a
right.
toss. Yeah, all right. Tone. That's what people call me in London. But if they want to use it to promote something, they can use it. If they don't want to, don't use it. But it's lovely that someone's patted me on the back and said I made a contribution, but that's really as far as it goes.
Okay, it's time for your second and final. So we're going to move.
Is this going to be a horrible?
No, not necessarily. I think it's delicious, Tony. But here is your second and final. Okay. So here we go. Oh, I mean, it looks spectacular, Tony. You can't see it, but how good does that look? Right. I am once again feeding you.
Yeah.
I'm going
I feel like
in.
a little bird opening my mouth. Waiting for Daddy
Right, here we go.
to come
Open
back
wide.
with his worm.
There we go. This is a bit wider.
Oh,
There we go.
well. But custard.
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 What else? What else?
I don't care. Custard.
Happy about custard. Any other flavours coming through there for you, Tony?
There's Is it a trifle?
It is a trifle.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So
If
you're
I go
saying-
to heaven, it will be with a trifle in my hands.
Right, excellent. So take the blindfold off. Here, have a little...
Oh, it looks like... Now, isn't that interesting?
No, there you go.
Actually, I did like it. I really did like it. I liked it very much. But then when I see it, and it's in a glass, so there's lots of
see the
layers to
layers.
it with the crumble on top. It looks so fantastic.
So that is my cinnamon, custard, and caramel Horlicks trifle.
Oh, that really works. That
And
really
you,
works so well.
you have said nothing other than disdainful things about Horlicks. You said it.
No.
You said it tasted like. Well, it tastes like a barroom floor.
Yeah.
Any element of barroom floor in that trifle is there?
Not at all. Absolutely not.
So you see, this
That's
is
very clever.
this is my thing. Is there such a thing as a bad ingredient, or is it how you use the ingredient?
I think I've always known that there's no such thing as a bad ingredient. What there is your associations with a particular food. So, like for a long time, I couldn't eat cabbage because of my association with primary school lunches, which was disgusting.
Yes, but most people's stuff that they don't eat is a result of having it force-fed to them as a child, cooked by someone who shouldn't be let anywhere near a stove.
Yeah. Can I just...
Look, you see, you're loving that.
please.
Sorry. Do you know what? I will shut up because that is it, Tony. That is us now. The fact that I'm going to quit while I'm ahead because I've changed your mind
About
on
Horlicks. Yeah, you have.
And I've got a whole tub of it, the Horlicks caramel thing that you can take home with you and have that for later.
I will cover myself with it in
Yes,
the bath.
exactly. I think everybody would like you to post that online if possible, Tony.
No,
But
this is lovely.
I just want to say thank you to Tony. This should go to the top of the bestsellers list because it is a great book. And The House of Wolf is the first of
A trilogy
a trilogy.
about King Alfred the Great.
King Alfred the Great. It's a fantastic book. It is available now. So go and get it from wherever you get your books from. But, you know, I personally walk into a bookstore and buy it because we want our bookstores, don't we?
And I'd personally walk into Homeslice once you've got this trifle on the menu.
No, that's never going on the menu, I'm afraid, Tony. No, because we only serve the finest brownies known to humanity. You can take one of those home with you as well.
You better cut while the going's good.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm getting out of here. Huge thanks to Tony Robinson for being such a great guest here on Spooning with Mark Wogan. Thanks to the team here at Homeslice City for putting up with us. And we're now going to rush off because there are actually people at the door waiting to come in and have pizza.
Hundreds of them. Go away!
Join me next week when I'll have another very special guest here who will be trying the food that they think they love and the food that they think they hate. If you like what we're doing, search us out on Spooning with Mark Wogan across all your social media channels, and you can see myself and Tony here in glorious Technicolor on the Virgin YouTube channel. And if you haven't had enough of me, you can find me on Virgin Radio Chilled on the weekends, 10 till 2, talking utter drivel between very good music. But until then, stay beautiful.